once again, those of you who just came in, as you know, I'm Demetria. And I'm at home, just like you. We would love to be with each other face to face, but I'm at home just like you. So what I would ask that is, while you're not speaking, if you would mute yourself, make sure that you're muted. And then when you want to speak, speak. There's some cool functions down here. I'm on my laptop, so there's a space for you to do reactions. If you like something, you give a thumbs up or a hand clap to it. If you're on your phone, you also can do that using the more function. So you click on more, you'll see those reactions. Look, I changed my hand colors to brown, like you, Jody. Like I was like, let me put some melanin on these reactions to fully represent us.
That is not brown.
It's not brown, Katrina?
No, girl. So but it's okay. It's all right.
See, we have this thing right here.
That ain't brown. That's okay. Good morning. It's your color, though. It's your color.
I'm putting her on mute. I ain't messing with you this morning. I'm not messing with you this morning. And so, again, I'm so very excited to have you. If you don't have your sound or your audio connected yet, you work through that, get that connected, because we want to have everybody here. So since this is the wellness edition, we're going to do wellness this time. And so I have my wellness brunch today. And so in lieu of libations, I have my coconut water and cranberry juice with a splash of lime. Because you know, coconut water has a lot of electrolytes and it's good for us in replenishing and hydration. And then I also have my ginger beer with my frozen fruit. So you know, the fruit that you buy, the frozen berries, my triple berry frozen fruit, because I like a little ginger beer. We know ginger beer is good for digestion. So yeah, so since it's the wellness edition, I did not add the alcohol, but what I will say is that either of these, you can throw a little splash of your favorite liquor and enjoy. So, and for breakfast, if you got my email, you know I love avocado toast. So since we're doing the healthier version today of our brunch, so I have my silverware and I have my avocado toast with my sliced tomato and my soft boiled eggs here. And I top that with a little splash of olive oil. I like my olive oil with a little sea salt because that sea salt and olive oil combination is delectable. And so I use a little Himalayan sea salt, olive oil. And then Aldi has these wonderful seasoning sections. So they had a mix, which was a thyme, lemon, sea salt grinder. And I splashed that on that too and gave me a little pop. So that's what I'll be eating for breakfast. And to get us started today, I asked my cousin, Donna Marie. So if there's more of an introduction you're gonna have to tell me, Donna Marie, because I don't have it right now. But this is one of my big cousins who I love dearly. And she is definitely a woman who is always about transformation. And now she's a Pilates instructor, a hot Pilates instructor, as well as she is someone who transitioned. Now, being from Louisiana, she's from the West Bank. So the New Orleans area, that's why y'all see the fleur-de-lis in the background and all her background. Transitioning to a vegan lifestyle and a plant-based lifestyle. And I'm not gonna say vegan, I'm gonna say plant-based, because I know if she wants oyster po' boy, she's gonna eat an oyster po' boy. She's not gonna limit herself. But she's transitioned to primarily a plant-based diet. And knowing her father was a chef who didn't cook nothing on the plant, like there was no plants on the base. It was straight gravy. And he was a wonderful, wonderful cook. But this is something that, you know, she transitioned to, and I have admired watching how she's transitioned to that. And first, you know, she really got heavy into the Bikram yoga, and now she's a hot Pilates instructor. So I wanted to welcome her, and I wanted her to open us up this morning with a deep breathing exercise, because right now with the COVID-19, it is attacking our ability to breathe. This attacking our lungs. And so being able to breathe deeply, which is something we don't do on a regular basis. I've been having this issue when I've been breathing deeply, where I've been having this little pain in my side, and they were like, I think you might have pleurisy. And I'm like, how did that happen, doctor? Can you explain? But anyway, that's a side note. But deep breathing is really a helpful and wonderful thing. So I wanted Donna to start us with a deep breathing exercise to kind of set the tone and get us in the mood.
Thank you for the introduction, Demetria. It was perfect, by the way. And thank you for inviting me this morning. I really appreciate being here. I want to just start by saying or sharing a little bit about breath. As you all know, without it, we no longer exist. And so what we're going to be doing today is not just our automatic breathing that we do on a daily basis, but deep breathing. And I believe there's nothing more powerful than our breath. It's our life force. It's our connection to our higher power, God, spirit, however you want to define God. It's our connection to our higher power. Deep breathing is especially important right now during this quarantine time, when many of us are lonely, in despair, depressed even. And it's so important to just focus on our breathing, focus on what we can control, as we've heard throughout messaging, sister, hey sister, and other messages on in social media. But breathing improves our quality of life. I have a few notes here I'm going to be looking at, but it allows us to take control of our mind. It helps our nervous system, balances the pH in our blood, boosts our immunity and our digestion, lowers our heart rate, cortisol levels, and it also helps to relieve pain. Helps us to sleep better. And it also helps us to expand our lungs and our chest and our posture. And so on that note, I would like to begin. And what I'd like us to do is first, if you're in a chair, just plant your feet firmly on the floor. If you're sitting on the floor, just fold your legs. The palms of your hands, place them on your thighs. And we're going to be doing a 4-count breath, breathing in for 4. As you breathe, pretend what my son told me. My son is a monk, and what he told me yesterday is pretend your spine is a stack of quarters. And so you want your spine to be strong and straight. And I say pretend someone is pulling, and you can't see from because of my virtual hairline background, but pretend someone's pulling. There's a string from the top of your head and someone's pulling you up. So sit straight, palms flat down on your thighs, and take a deep breath. We're going to practice first. Deep breath in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then release. Make sure your shoulders are back, your chest is up. Relax your stomach. Make sure that your nose is aligned with your belly button. And before we start the breathing, I'd like to just start with a big stretch, just to make sure that our spines are straight. So I want you to reach your arms over your head. And you can't really see me because of my virtual background, but interlock your fingers, release your pointer fingers. And we're just going to stay here for a second and stretch and breathe. And now lower your arms slowly. Palms of your hands back on your thighs. Now close your eyes and focus on your breath as we take 4 breaths in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then release. We're going to release through our nose and inhale through our nose. Again, deep inhale for 4 counts through your nose. And release through your nose. One more time, inhale through your nose. As you inhale, Focus on your breath and my voice. Exhale, release the carbon dioxide and the toxins from your body. One more time, big inhale through your nose. Exhale from your nose. Hear the breath in the back of your throat. Another big inhale through your nose. Breathe in calm, focus, and gratitude. Exhale through your nose and release all worries of today and tomorrow. Another big inhale through your nose. Breathe in the calm, peace, strength, harmony, and love. Release through your nose and let go of fear, anxiety, and any uneasiness. Another big inhale through your nose. Breathe in the oxygen. It helps your circulatory system and your organs. Last one, exhale through your nose. And focus on your breath. We're going to sit just a minute with our eyes closed. Focus on our gratitude, our life, our ability to breathe, and to use this breath to help our immune systems and our entire body. Now open your eyes. Slowly come back to the room. Wiggle your fingers. And I would like to just encourage anyone who is not practicing deep breathing on a regular basis to incorporate this in your practice, not just now, especially now, but throughout life. It really does make a difference. It really is powerful. And so I'll turn it back over to you,
Yeah.
Demetria.
Well, I needed that. Just putting my arms over my head. I don't think I've been exercising, working out, but putting them arms over my head, I was like, "Ooh, Lord, I'm tight up in this joint." Woo! All right. That's a good way to get started. Good way to get started. So Donna, do me a favor. If you would drop it in the chat to everyone where people can follow you. And I'm going to have her come back on in a minute and she's going to talk a little bit about like foods and nutrition at this time. But the next person I want to bring up, I want to introduce my friend, Dr. Tertia Hamilton. And I brought Dr. Tertia Hamilton on, another Xavier Wright. You know how we do. I'm just saying. But she is also class of 1995. She's an awesome friend. And she's a naturopathic physician. So normally out of Xavier, you don't hear about many naturopathic physicians coming out. It's all, so she's a naturopathic physician. She used to live in Arizona, sister, and now she's back in New Orleans. And I have loved watching her chronicles about, dating at this age in life. And some of her adventures in dating at this age in life. And,
woo!
But she is, full of a lot of wisdom. And I wanted her to come on to give us some 5 tips from a naturopathic physician's perspective on some of the things we could be doing to remain healthy. And she's right there in the epicenter, in the thick of things right now in New Orleans. New Orleans, Louisiana, period, is really, really being devastated by COVID-19. We all have somebody who's been impacted. So it's rough right now. So Tertia, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and take it away. But first I wanna say I've already dropped in the chat. I'm gonna show share her images later, but she has a conference coming up, a healing hypertension holistic virtual summit coming up in June, as well as she has her Live Better Health Moments on Tuesday on her Facebook page. So that's in the comments. So if you ever want to follow, go ahead and follow. So Tertia, take it away.
So thank you again for inviting me. I do appreciate it. As Demetria mentioned, I am a naturopathic doctor. And so for those of you who have never heard of naturopathic medicine, if you've heard of homeopathic medicine, that's actually naturopathic medicine. What that means is that I went to a 4-year medical school that is specifically designed to teach us not only conventional medicine, the same basic sciences, but also about nutrition and um, hydrotherapy and physical medicine, which is similar to chiropractic, and homeopathy and acupuncture and Chinese medicine, and a few other things that allow us to look at the person as a whole person when they come into the office, and then treat them as holistically as possible. And so when thinking about how to keep yourself healthy during this pandemic, during the stay-at-home orders, one of the things that I want us to keep in mind is to think about this as holistically as possible. I know that all of us are dealing with our own things, and we're dealing with them in our own ways. And there's a lot that we could be doing. You know, I've seen the memes and the posts where if you don't come out of this pandemic with a side hustle and an extra business and learning a new language then you miss it. You know what? That works for some people. So I want to say that my 5 tips are about keeping you whole and healthy on a whole as an entire person, and not just in one area. The first thing is to take vacations daily. Take vacations daily. What I mean by that is we don't realize often, sometimes we do, but oftentimes we don't realize how much stress we're under on a regular basis. Stress is absolutely killing us. One of the main reasons, either directly or indirectly, that most people go to the doctor is because of lifestyle, and a big part of that is stress and not being able to handle stress regularly. When we speak about stress, we think about, the nervous system and how it responds. You have your fight or flight system, which is your stress response, where your body is geared up to try to get you away from the lion, the tiger, and the bear. Well, your body doesn't know the difference between being attacked by a big dog and watching the news continuously about coronavirus and being stressed out about work and all the children being home, and now you're homeschooling, and when we were going to work, traffic and bills and all of those things. The body doesn't know the difference. So one way to combat that is to begin to break the cycle of stress that is pretty continuous, right? It's pretty continuous. We don't get enough sleep. That's stressful. We wake up early. That's stressful. We eat the comfort foods. That's internally stressful. So if we can take a vacation every single day, at least one, for 5 or 10 minutes, you can begin to break that cycle of stress. And that might be something as simple as doing the breathing exercises that we just did. Like, you set your alarm clock for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and you just take that time to be in that moment. That might also look like going outside and looking at the clouds and playing, what shape is this? You might actually close your eyes and listen to the birds outside, because how many of us actually pay attention to the birds, right? It could mean you walking, whatever that means for you. You want to stop and just kind of be in the moment to break that cycle of chronic stress so that your body actually has time to heal and grow. That's one. Number 2 is to remember that this is not normal. This is not normal. I found myself being really hard on myself. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do this thing. And, I have to go there and all these opportunities. And I gotta. We need to remember to be easy with ourselves. We are oftentimes our number one critic. And we, again, increase the amount of stress that we're in. That we're in. So if we can remember that this is not normal and that we need to create a new normal for this situation, then I think we can fare better. We can think better. We can maneuver this time better because we haven't put ourselves under as much stress and pressure to be like we were before. So remember that this time is not normal, and to allow yourself the grace and the flexibility to create a new normal in this situation. Number 3 would be to ground yourself. we tend to short circuit ourselves a lot and we don't even realize it. Anytime we are, we have a lot of thoughts and we're always in our head, and, we are always stressed, our shoulders are in our ears, and we don't go outside and connect to nature. We are basically short circuiting ourselves. So the way you ground yourself is to literally go and connect with nature physically. That might mean take your shoes off and put your feet on the ground or in the grass outside. If you are in an area that's still cold or that is snowing, then you might have to be kind of creative about it. So go hug a tree. If you have a plant, play with the plant, put your hand in the dirt. It might mean if you don't have all of that, if you live in Arizona and you have like an Arizona landscape, put your feet on the concrete. Like, that's still earth. You literally gain electrons. You do an energy exchange with the earth. And that helps to ground you, just like that grounding wire in the wall socket. We need to be grounded. So do some activity that will help you get grounded. Doing things like salt baths can also ground you. Epsom salt foot soaks. You kind of mimic the ocean in that regard. And so if you cannot get outside, that's something else you can do. But grounding yourself, connecting to the earth in some way to help replenish and rejuvenate yourself is important. Number 4, connect with family and friends. We forget sometimes that just because we are physical distancing, that doesn't mean that we have to completely disconnect ourselves from our family and friends. That might be when you go on your drive to drive by a family member's house and wave, right? Speak to them while they're on the porch and you're in the car, so that you're still standing far enough away, but have that connection with people. Do more Zoom talks, call people. I actually just decided that I'm going to start writing letters. Like, when was the last time you got a letter in the mail or even wrote one? But remember to connect with your family and friends in a way that you may not have done in a while, so that you don't feel so alone during this time. Because as Demetria mentioned, that aloneness can be detrimental to your health, with depression and anxiety and feeling disconnected. So be avid about connecting with people and being creative in how you connect with people. And number 5 is, don't forget your nutrients. I know that somebody's going to come in and talk specifically about nutrition, but that means to make sure that you drink nutritious beverages, eat nutritious foods. If you take supplementation, take your supplements. If you use herbs or botanicals, then use your botanicals. But make sure that you're getting good nutrition in, because your body functions on it. All your biochemical processes need magnesium and B1, B2, all the B vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C. It needs those things to function. And in a time of high stress and high anxiety and being disconnected and being unsure, we burn through the nutrients that we do have a lot quicker, because our body is going through the fight or flight response. So make sure that even if you're comfort eating, even if you're doing all the things and you're giving yourself grace, make sure that at some point throughout every day, you are eating something nutritious. You are drinking things that are nutritious. And if you, like I said, if you take supplements and botanicals, you take those things to help keep your body stronger, so that on the other side of this, you don't come out sicker. At the minimum, you want to come out the same. You want to come out better, but at minimum, if all you can do is maintain, then kudos to you, because that is still quite a bit. And so that's my 5 tips to staying healthy during this global pandemic.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing those. If you all have any questions for Dr. Tertia, please ask them. You can type it in the chat, or you can just take yourself off mute and ask the question. One of the things that really landed on with me is that because because this is not a normal and a stressful situation, even though cognitively we think we're fine, it is a stressful situation because it's not normal. But that our body's processes are using up more of the nutrients, so it's depleting us even more. And now it just really dawned on me. I said, so that must be why everybody's really vitamin D deficient. It's because we so dang on stress and our bodies are metabolizing it quicker. Because we never used to hear about everybody in the world being vitamin D deficient. Now everybody in the world is vitamin D deficient. I think it has something to do with our lifestyle.
Absolutely. I'll tell you this. Even when I lived in Arizona, we would test people's vitamin D and just about everybody's vitamin D was low. As much sun as we had in the desert, everybody's vitamin D was low. And so part of that I've learned it's not just a vitamin D problem, it is a nutrient problem. So you have all of these other nutrients that help vitamin D do what it needs to do, like magnesium is a huge one, and vitamin C is another one, and a bunch of other nutrients. And so it really does become more important to remember to get all of the nutrients in and not just focus on one, because that can lead to other imbalances. And so again, remembering to get all of your nutrients in, eating a big ass salad at least some point throughout a day, or eating some other nutrients is definitely helpful.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say I love vacationing daily. That is so awesome, a major stress reliever. And what I've been doing is just creating my own little bubble. I'm not focusing on media or anything like that. So I really love that. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
This
Yes,
is
I have a question.
in the chat, and I saw that post that you were talking about where it says if you don't come out of here with a new side gig and all this stuff, I'm like, seriously, I'm over here stressing about whether I'm going to get this disease, and you want me to come out of here with all this new stuff? No, I can't do it. So I'll just be done. I can't do it. So I was glad to hear that because I was putting that pressure on myself. Oh, I could be doing this. I could be doing this. I should be doing this. I should be studying for my SPHR. I can't. It's too much.
And I have too. And I had to catch myself, which is one reason why I thought about it, because I was putting the pressure on myself to, go and do more lives and exercise and make sure that you create this thing and you do. I'm a stressor. So I don't need to put that extra stress on myself. So yeah. Somebody else was speaking.
This is Katrina. I just wanted to know why did you decide to go differently when it came to medicine? I mean, because most people, when they go to medicine, they want to do the medical thing, not really the holistic route. And especially, being a Black physician, why did you decide to go that route?
It kind of fell in my lap. Like Demetria said, we went to Xavier. I was biology pre-med. And when I graduated, I actually was, as soon as I graduated, I was like, I'm not going to medical school, bye humbug. And I don't even remember why I did that. But in my journey to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, that's when I started to learn about nutrition and about using herbs as medicine and fasting. And I had never experienced that before. Like, I had never heard of any of that before. So my first thought was, this must be the way that I'm going to contribute to my community and the community at large. And then it was just somebody in that community that told me about naturopathic medicine that just kind of brought everything together. So that's sort of how I got into it.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. But what you were saying earlier, I mean, shouldn't all doctors view us as a whole person and not really put us in generalities? So I don't understand, like, how come, your field, why is it not taught in medicine, period? I mean, because we're all different. Our makeups are different. Our bodies are different, and it's like, shouldn't that be all of y'all?
Well, we do have Dr. Candace on, and she can tell you about the medical training and how it works. But I can tell you what I know.
Look at that laugh. I'm just saying, it's like, to me, as a Black woman, it's so frustrating when you people take that, you know how the pain level, this and that. Yeah, of course we can take more pain. Our ancestors made it through the Middle Passage. We get it. We understand. But to me, it's just disheartening and disappointing that we're not taken serious and we're all put in a box. We're not like clear people. You know what I mean? They don't. It just doesn't work that way. And I always people make fun of me because when my kids get a doctor that's not Black, they look at me strange. I mean, and people could listen, their dentist is Black. I mean, most of their doctors from them being born to now have been Black. And when they get a non-Black person, they looking like, oh, this who I'm going to now? And I think that as, Black people, we should really teach our children. It's really, really important to find a Black physician because they're going to be honest with you and they know our bodies better than putting us in a box and shoving us. When I say my back hurt, my back hurt. I don't know, find it. It ain't gas. You know what I'm saying? Everything ain't gas. So it's like, I don't get it. I'm just, it's just frustrating. I don't know. I'm just over these clear people, but it's okay. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me.
Say this, as far as the medical profession as a whole, not seeing the whole person, I've never worked inside of medicine in that way, but what I can see is one, medical doctors historically were more like the doctors that, like my sort of medicine. And through the course of expansion and development and finances and all of those things, that's when things started to shift. And unfortunately, you have a medical field right now that is basically, from what I see, run by businessmen in suits in insurance companies and others. So doctors aren't even allowed to practice the way they want to a lot of times. Right. And so because they will be ostracized and their license will be taken. So there's that piece. But then it's really hard to do studies, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies on a whole person. Right. A lab study is much easier when you focus on something very little. And so that's, you take that and you just kind of run with it. And then it becomes a whole system of medicine. It's not until you find those docs who are committed to seeing the entire picture and seeing how everything works that it happens. But that's not the way that it's taught because that's just not the way medicine is set up anymore.
Well, we got Christina. Did you have a question? This is gonna be our last question, and then we're gonna switch over. Go.
I did have a question. Thank you. So my question is really because I did recently go to a naturopathic doctor for the first time here in Arizona. And to Katrina's question, I did ask her what's the difference. And I learned a lot in terms of just how, unfortunately, it seems like every state treats naturopathic doctors differently. And some people can be prosecuted for doing things that your quote unquote regular doctor can do. So that was interesting to me. But I wanted to know, you mentioned fasting, and I just wanted to know, how did you come to the place of learning about yourself? Like, do you have any specific resources or things that you would point to? Because in the conversation I had with the naturopathic doctor, one of the suggestions that she made for me, because I feel like I've been gaining weight and it's very, I can't seem to explain what it's coming from other than maybe old age, I guess. She suggested that I do a modified paleo diet, but I don't want to personally eat a whole lot of meat. And like my sister mentioned about, I donated a kidney to my dad years ago. And so I only have one. And so not that I know that it would make a difference or not, but I'm just concerned about, added protein. So I wanted to ask, how did you get to the place learning more about fasting, knowing more about what was good for your specific body, so that even when you do get recommendations, you have some wisdom behind it?
Just looking at, so when I was introduced to holistic medicine, fasting and cleansing and detoxing was kind of part of that. So that was kind of planted early. And then I've actually studied it more deeply, and it's like taught, right? And then you remember, like, all the major religions have fasting as a part of their what they do. And so that got me to thinking and just realizing how miraculous the body is if you just sit and do nothing. It's helpful that way. But we have to remember that our bodies are unique, and medicine is a practice. And so we can know what is supposed to happen with a course of action, but you still have to look at it individually. And so if you know that you only have one kidney, then do your paleo diet modified, which basically would mean eat more plant-based, add some vegetables, less carbohydrates, and go from there, as opposed to the meat protein. And so I would look at it that way and see how you feel, and then get tested. And then, if you feel like you would feel better not eating, then try fasting, short-term fasts, and see how it goes. And then if you have more questions, just ask a practitioner. But
But
yeah.
any books or anything you had just when you first started out that you would recommend for those of us who are trying to understand better about non-traditional, I guess, things?
There are several that I actually can't think of right now.
Okay.
So let's do this. If you could send that to me, like when you think about those.
Yeah, later.
To me, because what I do after this is I send like a post email, and then I can include that resource in the email for everybody to look at.
Perfect.
All right, Alicia Ransom, you have, I said Christine was the last question, but I saw you raise your hand, so I'll let you have take the last question.
I did. I just wanted to, a book that I've used before. I don't know if it's appropriate, but The Complete Guide to Fasting. Have you heard of that one before?
I have. Who wrote it?
I can't remember who wrote it. I do apologize.
No, I haven't heard of that one. I've actually only used a couple books. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Oh, okay. So Dr. Jason Fung wrote it, and I have followed him on like some stuff to learn about fasting. So yes, I definitely trust him as a source.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much. As I stated earlier, Dr. Tertia has a couple of things coming up. I'm going to share those with you. And, please share with your family and friends. One, she has this, so her Live Better Health moment, where she discusses, a topic of the week. So April 21st is coming up, stressing your immune system. And then on April 28th, should I be taking supplements for Rona? So those are coming up, and those are in her Live Better Facebook group. So I dropped that in the chat for you to find, and you can go participate in that. And then the other one that she has coming up, let me share this, is a Healing Hypertension Holistic Health Summit. It's going to be online. So just like I was planning my conference, she was planning a health summit and had to we're doing a remix. So it's going to be June 15th to 21st. I know that hypertension is, it runs in our community, right? It runs definitely rampant in our community. And I know if you, all the medications have their, issues with them. And for us as African American, they're quick to say, let me put you on lisinopril. And my father had the lisinopril reaction where his lips swole up, his face swole up, that reaction. And it happens a lot. We know lots of people that have happened to. So any type of additional holistic type of approach to hypertension, I think is very, very important to us. Me, because I have the polycystic kidney disease, I'm on a hypertensive medicine prophylactically to really try to keep my blood pressure down so it doesn't add added stress to my kidneys. But chronic kidney disease, hypertension, they are epidemics in the Black community, and we really need to think holistically about how we go about taking care of that for us. So you might want to check out her summit and participate. So I know she's going to have to leave in a little bit. So thank you for joining us. I know you'll hang on a little longer, but yay. All right. So then we're going to talk about nutrition a little bit. Donna Marie, can you give us your 5 tips? And then we're going to have our dance break.
I want to start off by saying I am not a nutritionist. These 5 tips are based on my personal research and my own studies. And so, again, I just want to stress the importance of breathing. This is not one of my tips, but breathing helps your immune system so much. It's extremely powerful. It helps with your cortisol levels. It helps with so much. So that deep breathing exercise we did up front, I can't stress enough practicing the deep breathing. There's an app I use called Insight Timer, and that Insight Timer app has guided meditations. It also has chimes and a timer where you can sit for 5 minutes. It'll chime when you start and chime at the end of your 5 minutes, where you can just sit, clear your mind, focus on your breathing and your posture. And so let me get started with the 5 tips. The first one is to hydrate. Hydration is just as important as breathing. As you know, our bodies are made up of 55-60% water. We need water. More importantly, we need to avoid dehydration because that has such a negative impact on our immune response. But water, what I've been doing, I'll tell you, and what I think is a great baseline for many people is to try to drink, especially now since we're at home, it's very easy, half your body weight in water. So whatever it is in ounces, whatever your weight is, divide that by 2 and drink that number of ounces of water per day if you can. Water helps with your digestion. It helps to lubricate your joints. It helps your cells to reproduce, rejuvenate. It delivers oxygen to your blood. It helps to form your saliva, and it helps with waste. So hydration is extremely important. Without our breath, we can't live, and without water, there is no life. And so that's really important. My children, when they were younger, would tell me, "Oh, I have a stomach ache," or "I have this," and I'm like, "Drink some water." And they make fun of me to this day because that's our go-to. Like, if you haven't had enough water, then don't consider a medication or anything else. Get that water in. It's so important. As Dr. Trusha said, more fruits and vegetables. I would recommend 80% of your plate whenever you eat be fruit and veggies or veggies. And 20% or less, preferably less, be something other than your fruit and veggies. Make sure your plate is very colorful. I recommend trying different grocery stores. A lot of times we go to one store. I have a story. I was in Hawaii in January with my mom and my sister, and they were stuck on going to Walmart. I'm like, wait a minute, we're in Hawaii where there are lots of tropical fruit, local produce. Like, why are we going to Walmart? So I just had to leave them and go on my own to just explore. And so I would say, try different grocery stores, international grocery stores. You will find fruit and vegetables that you've probably never seen in your life, and you can YouTube, Google, and try some new recipes. So eat more fruit and veggies. Make sure that your plate is very colorful, very diverse. Stay away from processed foods. As we know, those are just high acidic foods, and they're not really good for our health and our immune system. Sugary drinks and sodas are also And I got all of this under fruit and vegetables. Eat more fruit and vegetables. Eliminate the sugary drinks. Um, let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah, and it's important, in my opinion, to eat smaller meals. Our plates are huge. The standard American diet, we eat a burger, French fries with chili on top of the fries and cheese, and so it's really important for our metabolism if we eat smaller meals. That is so helpful. So 5 to 6 small meals a day, or incorporate those snacks as well with your 5 to 6 small plates per day. Clean your fruit and vegetables. I've seen so many advertisements where people were using Lysol wipes and soaking veggies or produce in bleach or alcohol and things like that. I don't know if you all have seen it, but I just thought it was ridiculous. And so it's really important to rinse, I soak, and I use distilled vinegar to help with cleansing. Cleaning our veggies is so important, and eating whole foods is also important. Back to fruit and veggies, whole foods like brown rice flour, chickpea flour, not your white sugars or refined sugars and flours. They're not good for our blood levels, and they're just beans, legumes. Also, really, as a matter of fact, my lunch or brunch today, it's pinto beans, rice, and a side of avocado. So I got my protein and my apple juice. So I got my fresh apple juice, which is my fruit, and I have more fruit with my avocado, but my beans is my protein. And also drinking a turmeric tea here. So not defined 5 tips here, Demetria, but, and this is not necessarily a nutrition tip, but exercise is also important for the circulation of the oxygen, the movement of the nutrients through our body. It helps to get the water also moving throughout our body system. So exercise is really important. It helps our brain. There's so much that exercise can be. So that taking a vacation daily, like the doctor said, take a walk, run in place. I have jump ropes in my house, jump rope. All of that is helpful, and it doesn't have to be strenuous, but it should be something we try to practice daily. And sleep is also important for our immune system, for our organ systems, for our health. It's really, really important to get those. Some people are not for the 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours of sleep is what's usually recommended, but it's really important to get that deep sleep. However many hours you choose, 8 hours is truly recommended, but it's really important to sleep. And the breathing exercises will also help you with your sleep. If you are a person who suffers with insomnia, that deep breathing right before bedtime can really probably help you to get the rest that you need at night. Staying away from caffeine drinks, and there's so much to this, but staying away from caffeine. If you have to have caffeine, make it earlier in the day, not later in the day, because that can impact your sleep. And the last thing I have on my list is just overall self-care. One of the things Dr. Scholl said on Hey Sister as he ended his talk with Demetria and Christina, and just to kind of reiterate what Dr. Trusha just said as well, is to just be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, be gracious and patient with yourself, and extend that to the people you're maybe living with. But my son, daughter-in-law, and my 2-year-old grandson are here with me, and I have a 1-bedroom and a den. So it's not a whole lot of space, but it's really so important to just be good to yourself and extend that to the other people around you during this time. As Dr. Trusha said, also take a ride, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but take a ride. Dr. Hamilton, how about that? take a ride by a family member's house and just wave from a distance. Zoom is free, and you can make Zoom conferences for up to 40 minutes at no cost. Take advantage of that. It's important to check on people because, again, you never know what others are going through, and you can actually be blessed when you serve to help someone else. So self-care is extremely important. And again, there's so much more I can go into, but I'm going to stop right there with those nutrition tips.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And you did get your nutrition certificate, I thought, right?
I did. Yes,
Oh, okay.
I did.
Like, what you talking about? What you not? But okay, we gonna work on that.
Oh, yes. Let's work on that. Coach Cousin, please, let's work on that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I think all of the things that we have here are the basic knowledge that we all need reiterating. Anybody have any questions? So like I said, Donna transitioned into being primarily plant-based. Like I said, if she wants an oyster po' boy, she'll have an oyster po' boy, but she's transitioned really into being primarily plant-based. I mean, she even makes the cashew meat out of cashews and all that stuff and dressing. So you have any questions about that transition and being I'll say nearly vegan, please ask.
Are you nearly vegan or are you just vegetarian, and how did you make the transition?
So for me, I don't buy meat. I don't bring it into my house. I don't buy it. But as Demetria said, if I'm out and about and I have a craving, I don't deprive myself. But so nearly vegan. And I don't even like the term vegan. I prefer plant-based because with veganism, that means a whole lot more than not eating meat. So I'm definitely not a vegan. So vegans don't wear leather. Vegans, there's a whole lot more to being a vegan than a plant-based lifestyle. So my plant-based journey started with me being diagnosed with celiac disease, which I don't have. So it was a misdiagnosis. And I had to learn to restock my pantry. So emptying it from all the things I knew I couldn't eat, reading labels. I'm the girl who was at the restaurant asking, is this gluten-free, when nobody even knew what gluten-free was. And so I realized I had to cook my own food because I couldn't go to a restaurant and rely on a server telling me, oh, no, that's not gluten-free, when it was really clear that nobody, I would get the question all the time, what's gluten? What's gluten? So nobody knew what gluten was. And so again, it started with me learning to live. My son also has a gluten allergy, so learning to live a gluten-free lifestyle, which meant clearing out my pantries, learning how to make a roux a whole nother way. Like, you can't use white flour anymore to make your gumbo for your roux or your anything that has a roux base. And so lost a lot of weight in the process, incorporated a lot of fruit and veggies. Didn't like the way I looked, actually. And then for a while, I went back to eating meat to get my weight on and didn't like the way I felt. So then I eliminated the meat again. And so as Dr. Hamilton even was saying, Christina, this journey is really about the whole person. It really is about eliminating, incorporating. It really is about researching and determining what works best for your body type, your lifestyle. And it's not, I wouldn't say that it's easy. It's not easy. Not being able to eat certain foods meant it was harder for me to hang out with certain friends because our relationship was based on going out to eat and drinking wine and doing, just enjoying one another's company. And I was the person who couldn't eat any of the stuff that we all enjoyed together. And so it isn't easy, but it certainly is worth it now. And I've reached a point where I have a lot of recipes under my belt. I know what I like and what I don't like. And as Demetria mentioned, I use nuts to make meat. I use nuts to make cheese. And the reason I mentioned those grocery stores, I have run across some of the most amazing fruit and veggies that are never, ever in my local grocery store. So exploring and researching and determining what feels good, what doesn't feel good, it's a journey, and one I recommend.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Any other questions? Because Tiffany, you're also, I forgot about you, Tiffany. You also transitioned. Tell us about your transition. You got to come off of mute, Tiff.
Thank you for that reminder. I did go mostly vegan, and I actually like that term more plant-based than me saying mostly vegan. I too do not eat meat products, but I love dessert. So I still have dairy and eggs on occasion. And like she said, if I want a po' boy, but that's only when I'm in New Orleans, I will have a shrimp po' boy. But what I find most interesting about living the plant-based diet is that the first thing people always say is, how do you get your protein? How do you get your protein? Obsessed with protein as the most important macronutrient, and it's not. I'm like, I eat tons of beans. But the other issue that I find with our community is that we just do not want to change. I don't tell people that the vegan or plant-based lifestyle is what's best for everybody, but I also believe you have to do one or the other. You either have to take that medicine that you don't want to take, or you have to change your lifestyle, but you can't not do either. And that's what we get a lot of time. I don't want to take those medicines. Fine, don't take the medicine, but what are you going to change in your diet? What are you going to change in your lifestyle? And they don't want to do either one. Well, I gotta have my meat, or I gotta have my ham, my hog maw, or fat back, or whatever it is they put in the greens. I gotta have my turkey necks. Well, if you have to have it, fine, but you better take your medicine, right? One or the other. You just can't not do anything. And we just don't want to change at all.
Mm-hmm. And that's coming from the nurse.
Well, to that point, then, Demetria, that's why I go back to what I said earlier about the paleo or modified paleo diet, because so often I find that I'm just confused. I don't know what to do, because if I'm told by a naturopathic doctor to do modified paleo, which means then I can't eat beans, then, or, you can't, and you really can't eat, like, you can eat a sweet potato maybe like once a week and things like that. And then when you're thinking about being plant-based, you're told that soy is terrible, so you can't eat soy. So I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to eat? Because I'm really trying to do better for myself, but I feel like there's so many confusing messages out there.
Okay, Tertia wants to answer that.
If I can chime in on that, I would say start simply and start where you can. Don't overwhelm yourself in the beginning of the process, because making changes is not easy anyway. So start with what you can do, and then once you get a handle on that, modify it a little bit more, tweak it a little bit more, add something else or remove something else. But don't try to do everything all at once, because then it does get much more frustrating. Remember, crawl before you walk. So if you can start small with what you can do, get comfortable with that, and then just go from there, so that it's not such a big daunting task.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. All right. Well, thank you. All right, DJ, are we ready for transition? You got to come off, put your camera. All right, so, look, she done got glammed up and everything. So, DJ, Tammy, Nick, so everybody's been on the, hey, listen, D-Nice was jamming last night on IG. I'm not going to lie. And I was jamming with them. But what I do know is that we have a lot of local DJs. So you have DJs right there in your community, that's your friends and what have you, who are doing their thing. You need to drop in our chat your tip jar. How do we tip you? She's saying no, but we're going to tip you. Put it in there. Don't make me go find it, because today is her birthday. So, yay! Happy birthday!
Thank you, guys.
We're not going to sing happy birthday to you, but she said she was willing to come on and do a dance break for us, because movement is important. So we're going to have a little dance break, and then we're going to bring on the rest of our speakers. So, Tammy, I'll let you take it away for the next few minutes.
Thank you guys. And just real quick, I'm gonna plug directly into my phone. So Demetria, everyone either do thumbs up if you need me to make the sound go up, thumbs down if it needs to come down, and then tell me to cut it off when you're ready.
Okay, all right.
Because I won't be able to hear you.
All right.
All right.
So we're gonna do about 5. Y'all gotta get up.
Let's take this overboard. I want you to ride. Change positions. All we needed was ba 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 da. Oh, ba 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 da. Where? Back in the day when things were cool. All we needed was ba 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 da. Oh, ba 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 da.
Come on, y'all.
Hey. So flower, take me flying with you. Trying to get you to understand how I felt for you. I tried real hard time and time again, but I didn't know my love wouldn't grow. I should have just let it go, but I stayed around thinking you would learn to love, and we both know you're wrong. There's nothing you can do to ever undo what you've done to me. I love too deep in my heart to know you couldn't love me, baby. I just kept holding on. I should've let you go. I should've let you go. I should've let you go. Couldn't do without it. I needed you in my world. But more and more I look out for you. You try to play me like a fool, so I didn't care that love wasn't there. Had to just let it go. Couldn't stay around thinking you would learn to love. And we both know you're wrong. There's nothing you can do. Ever do what you done to me. I love you deep in my heart. No, you couldn't love me. Oh no, I should've let you go. I should've let you go. No, I should've let you go. And now don't you have to be alone. We both won't look at the tone over the phone. I should've known, damn, I should've known. You wouldn't last long when you didn't come home tonight. But now I'm home in zone. Did it from my own suspect. Queen on the throne. I it's strong advice. Move on, that's life. The wrong, the right, and the better way. Can't believe the girls up high. But up, shawty wanna lead me to the bag. Ain't been in here 15 minutes, got a pocket full of digits and she just won't take none. Now mama wanna get back. She don't wanna share what she has. Ain't no particular one that's getting the water gun. So many that I want. I don't need nothing but ladies calling. I'm trying to get one of them balls, but they keep coming from wall to wall. I don't need nothing but ladies calling. I'm trying to get one of them balls, but they keep coming from wall to wall. It's like oh, it's like it's the same feeling.
I'm creeping low in a flip flop drop top stank. Leaning to the left, go dating on that thing. I'm the MJG, pimp tight. Put it to the flow, 5-0, swing her right in the peanut. But guts is a must. Drop it in the shop, take them out, wrap them up in a tent, clip coat to make it shine. Make me circle through the neighborhood, 55 time with my gas tank full. Drink a bull, fall up in the park, got the dog try to pull me a young stout woman, some pretty, nice round hips with the wearing shape titties as the sun goes down. I'm getting dirty, fall up in pressure word, get cleaned in a hurry in my 7-7 Chevy, ass tight, pull off cutting rubber, disappearing in the night in the. Baby,
This is the ladies' anthem, y'all.
It's not even like that.
It wasn't like that, but I saw it.
Baby, I don't love her.
You don't love me? You know what? I don't even want to talk to
She
you.
don't mean nothing
I
to
don't
me.
want to see your face.
She was just
I
telling
just
me.
want to see you walk through that
Baby,
door. Ain't nothing
All right,
else
let's
to
sing
walk
along, y'all. This is our last one. Y'all ready?
Come
Oh,
on, let me you very welcome. Back my shoulder. Thinking you gon' get you some. Smelling like fragrance that I don't even.
Oh Lord, wait a minute. I muted the beat.
With you, it's always something else. Working my nerve. God knows that I don't deserve what you put me through. Cause I've been so true to you. For you to come at me with another lame excuse. See, I heard it all before. All of your lies, all of your sweet talk. Baby this, baby that. Times I went to watch out the Marriott, on and on to go out on drop top boots and yachts, guzzling straight shots and scotch, formulating up plots to escape from selling fly cause it's scorching hot, making it hard trying to figure who's out to trap me, for tacky, got all kinds of undercovers coming at me, perhaps he won't be happy till they snatch me and place me where half a slacks be sitting in Kawasaki, but never me. See, my destiny's to be forever free, and ecstasy on a hill that'll wait for me. So plus just to visualize like a coke bus, vivid enough to make living this a must. Breathe. I go, baby, to the hill, baby, baby. I'm sorry. What to say again? Let's count this money. Oh me, oh my. I know many.
Yay! Thank Thank you, girl.
Yay! Thank you, thank you. Also, so Tammy, what time you have to pop off? If you can hang a little longer, we'd be glad to have you to play us out at the end. But so because we want to hit our last few people.
Okay,
If you
I'll
can,
keep it and I'll signal you.
Okay, yeah. All right, thank you. All right, that was a good little dance break. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Give a hand. She don't want to put her cash app in the comments. Put your cash app in the comments, Tammy. Don't make me go find it.
She ain't gonna do it.
Anyway, today's her birthday. So next up on our I wanted to bring Jody on. The last time we were on, we talked a little bit about essential oils, and I know Katrina and I both do doTERRA, so I have to put a shout out to my doTERRA On Guard. That's what we use right now to kind of help keep us healthy, right? And so I wanted Jody to talk about at least 5 essential oils that we could be using right now, just kind of tying into this whole wellness thing. So we're gonna have Jody up next, and I see we have somebody, hey Tam, joined us, and had a couple people have to drop off, but it's all good. So Jody, go have it.
Okay, again, as Demetria said, I'm Jody Nicholson, and I want to talk to you about 5 of my favorite oils that have kind of helped me get through this whole whatever it is that we got going on. I started using essential oils back in February. I wasn't really familiar with them, just, a little bit. I know people diffuse them, but they have a lot of, as most of you know, they have a lot of uses to them, just other than just diffusing them. I've got my diffuser going in the back there, if you can see. But I'm going to share my screen here, Demetria, and we'll see. So the first oil, let me make sure I got this correct. I don't want to cut this off. Can you see that?
Yep.
The first oil I want to talk about is Clarity. And Clarity is what it is. You can diffuse this during the time that you're studying to increase focus in your memory, or when you get up in the morning and you just feel all confused. It kind of gives, you want to know where to start. You can use it to help clear your mind. You can also apply it to your ears and your temple. That's to fight mental fatigue and some memory retention. We're going through a lot right now, so we're going to need things to kind of help us. Again, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not saying that this will fix everything. It's to help us get through all this. You can apply it behind the ears, on your wrist, to combat jet lag for when we start back to being able to travel. And then you can partner it with an oil. It's a great partner oil to use for brain power. So our next oil, let me make sure I got this right, that I like to use is called Stress Away. This particular oil, it eases tension and stress. It can calm overactive children. Of course, you'd have to use it with the carrier oil just so you make sure. And when I say carrier oil, that's something like olive oil, grapeseed oil when it comes to children. It promotes relaxation and a restful sleep. So Stress Away is one of those things. I know if you're a parent right now and you're trying to work from home and you're also trying to homeschool your children, it can get kind of stressful. I've seen some posts on Facebook, on social media, where parents are literally just about to wring the kid's neck. And now everyone has all this appreciation for the teachers and what they go through. So that's a good oil. That's also a good oil to help use during stressful times. My next favorite is Peace and Calming. And I just dropped it. This one is like my best friend. It's my BFF. It really is peace and calming. And what it does, it encourages deep relaxation. It also helps with a good night's sleep. It really uplifts your spirit. And it also, too, helps calm interactive children, and it can help comfort on a stressful day. One of the things that you can also do with this is you can put it on a cotton ball, and also put it in the vents of your car. So, like if if you happen to drive to work or driving in this traffic here in Orlando, it can help calm you down, before you get home or before you get to where you need to go. My next favorite is frankincense. We should all be familiar with frankincense. Remember, it was one of the gifts that the wise men brought to the manger for baby Jesus. It has an earthy, real earthy sense. It helps to ground you. You can use it as a massage after any activity, and it's one of the key ingredients. I'm a Young Living essential oil distributor, and it's one of the key ingredients in the Young Living personal care products. Now, I like to combine this one with my next favorite, which is lavender. These two have been like the best things since sliced bread to help me with my sleep. One of the things I've learned over the past few months is that when you're on a healthy journey or a weight loss journey or a fitness journey, sleep is so important. So back in February, and this is how I got started, when it come down to sleep, I wasn't getting enough. I would wake up and I was always tired. The one thing that was a problem was I was going to bed like at 11 or 12 o'clock and then getting up at 6:30. And by the time I got ready to go to bed, I hadn't calmed down enough. So one of the things that I started doing that was suggested was I use the Peace and Calming in the evening, like after dinner. I start diffusing it. And then in the bedroom, I diffuse the 2 drops of frankincense and 2 drops of lavender. And that has been the best sleep I've had in months when I started in February. We're all familiar with lavender and what it can do for you. You can even take this, put it in a spray bottle and mix it with water and just kind of spray your linens or spray your pillow with it. It helps with that. You can put a couple of drops of this in your bath water. And that also gives you a calming and relaxed feeling. This also, lavender promotes feeling calm, and it also fights an occasional nervous tension. So it also helps with balance. So these are my 5 favorites. You've got Peace and Calming, you've got Clarity, you've got Stress Away, you've got Lavender, and you've got Frankincense. And all of these have been my favorites to use during this time of quarantine. And they really helped. Again, being new to oils, I never knew that there were so many different ways you can use them. Most people know that you can diffuse them, but they're also, you can apply them topically, typically with particularly with grapeseed oil or either olive oil, something that's going to help tone it down because it may be too strong for the skin. And then also you can take them, you can put them in a capsule. But the one thing I wanted to make sure I talked about today for sure was just diffusing the oils and how they can help you relax.
All right. Any questions for Jody? Anybody else is using essential oils right now? Like I said, so she does Young Living. I have been a doTERRA customer for a while. And yes, I diffuse oil. I love this On Guard blend. Lavender, frankincense. And what I do is when I make my own body concoction, because you mix your own, I take, you buy the raw African shea butter as well as, and I don't have my exact formulation down, but I just kind of go by the feel of it. But I use the raw African shea. I use the coconut oil, the fractionated coconut oil, so in the liquid form, some olive oil, and then I add my essential oils, and I'll make my own and I use it on my body, I use it on my hair, I use it all over. And we have, I'll have me a lavender one, I'll have a lemongrass, I might do a mixture, a blend, and it's, for right now, since we are inside so much, our skin is dry. And if you've been washing your hands like they say you're supposed to wash your hands are dry. And so having that blend, mixing it yourself is really, really helpful. And then for those of us who are trying to reduce our toxic load as much. Now listen, let me tell you something. I know all about tea tree oil. I know all about the 4 Thieves, the oils. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all don't substitute, no, I still use bleach. Okay? Because ain't nothing like bleach and water to come to killing some viruses, okay? So I believe in my oils, but I will mix, like when it comes to cleaning certain surfaces and whatever, everything I think needs, we try to reduce our toxic load as much as possible, but I still, for certain things, I have to use some bleach and water, because we just know what bleach can do for us. So let's see, we have any questions, comments?
Well, just for me, I use doTERRA as well. So I know when Jody started doing Young Living, it's kind of like when you do stuff you don't really think about really talking to your friends about it. So when I went to her house or something, I said, girl, what is this you got? And she was just saying how she got, went to her trainer's home and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, Demetri and I do doTERRA, and we've been doing it for years. Like that's all I do. I have not taken medicine in maybe 2 to 3 years now. Demetri, I've been doing doTERRA, like for my headaches, even for my menstrual cramps, the On Guard that I use. I mean, I have a little niece, and if she's not feeling well, she's over here. She's like, Auntie, can you mix me up some of that stuff? I have a care packet for my daughter. I'll give my son one when he goes away. I don't know if he's going to use it, but I give it to them anyway because I know that it works. I diffuse something every day. I'm kind of mixing up some things, reading some things as well. I'm not like Demetri. I ain't making nothing. I'm not doing all that. So I'm not doing that, but I most definitely, doTERRA and Young Living come from the same people. I think the doTERRA people with Young Living, but Young Living is a little bit more expensive for what you get. But hey, if you have questions, I am a avid believer. I don't take any medicine for anything. I use my oils, and listen, it works for sure.
Yeah, and that's one. It's funny because when I started using them and I started talking about them, people were like, "Oh, welcome to the family. I've been doing this." And I'm like, "Could you not have told me?" I mean, everybody's out there using the oils and getting all the good stuff, and I'm like, "Hello."
You're here now. And like I said, for me, for doTERRA past tense, I have it in my purse. And people know you, Tam. They'll know. And it's like, you got a headache? It's like, what you got? I got this past tense you can rub on them temples in the back of your neck. And they know I would give them that. I carried it in my bag. They know I'll give you want. Oh, I got some On Guard Beelish. You want one of them? You can pop it real quick. I can put some in your water. Your stomach hurt? Oh, I got Digestin. What we doing? And they know I got a whole little packet that I carry in my purse. You got a bug bite? I got some TerraShield. What you need? And they know. They make fun of me, but I have everything in my bag, so I'm a firm believer for sure.
Well, y'all got to know, if you know Katrina, for those of you who don't know, she already carries, between her and Lena, and talk about bag ladies, she already carries a duffel bag as a purse. But
I do.
I'll just leave that there. Alicia, you raised your hand. Alicia raised her hand.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I like that idea of the calming down before, because I have a difficult time falling asleep too. But Katrina, I wanted to ask you, like, I don't know if you can give the formula now, but I have horrible menstrual cycles and pain. So what do you use for that?
Well, for me, for doTERRA, I use clary sage, and for my daughter, I gave her clary calm. So there too, I mean, the clary calm, I gave it to her because she probably don't want to smell like essential oils walking around school, but it's a roll where you can roll it on your stomach and your back, and the clary sage, you can rub it on you, and you can also take it as well. So I'll send it to you. I have your number, and I just ordered it. So, I mean, if you want it, I can probably order it myself for different, but we can talk offline for sure.
Okay, thank you.
And I have this huge book that I got from my doTERRA person. It's called Essential Living or something. So I have a huge book on that. I'll look in there for you, Alicia, and I'll send something to you on that as well. But it has everything.
Everything in it.
And so when you think about, as Jody said, and even when Tertia was on, before there was modern medicine, like she said, in every religion, people have been fasting. They've been praying, meditating, that whole calming. They brought Jesus frankincense and myrrh, you know, like they're essential oils, you know. So essence of orange. And when we think about all of the healing modalities long before we had what we call modern medicine, there's benefits in that. The herbs, the teas, and what have you. And everything that's in modern medicine is based off of these ancient remedies. And so, you know, how can we not look to them and to incorporate them? Because I do believe in modern medicine too, because if I break my arm, I'm gonna go get it reset, and you know, and I probably, you know, while my herbals and my oils might help, but I'm probably gonna take you know, something a little stronger. Might do Vicodin for a few days if I break my arm. Just let y'all know that, because I believe in modern medicine. But you know, having those supplements and having those assistive, I think is very, very important. So in the chat, Katrina, Jessica's asking, can you post some of that in the chat, because she wants to know more about that. And then let's see. Yeah, so please add that down in the chat. So
I want to ask, since Jody is a rep for Young Living, does, number one, are there, in the same way with doTERRA, I know Demetria drinks stuff. I'm still not sure that that is food grade, but she claims it is. But are there food grade versions for yours as well? And to this book that Katrina mentioned, do you have something similar for yours?
There's something similar for us. Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, we both should have it. Like I said, they came from the same family. The Young Living, doTERRA founders came from Young Living. So you know how y'all know how companies break off for sure. So I mean, I'm quite sure they used. So I don't know what was
there you know, there are also
I have that too.
You know, roll-ons that you can use, and you know, that has a mixture that does the same thing. Like she said, they come from the same. They come from
same group. Y'all know how people get, they broke off for whatever reason. So, but yeah.
Oh, I have that book, and it really, I mean, it talks about every system in the body. It talks about all the how oils can be used really for every system in the body to make your own cleaning products. So many things you can do. And we all know when we go get a really good massage, they have a good essential oil that they're using as well. And so it's also good to know about those oils, because actually, depending on if you have any type of allergic reactions or whatever, you can make your own blend and even bring when you go and get a massage and what have you. So it's important. So Jody, would you please in the chat drop your information so how people can contact you and learn more about the essential oils and Young Living, and get that from you, as well as Katrina, if you want to share yours as well, that'd be great. So next up, I want to bring my friend, Dr. Candace on. Hey, Dr. Candace. Hey. So Dr. Candace is a wife, a mother, a pediatrician. She has her own podcast called Kidding Around with Dr. Candace. So you please go to whatever podcast you're listening to and subscribe and follow her podcast and listen to her podcast. You know, as a pediatrician, obviously she's focused on the health of children, but as a wife and a mother and a sister and a friend, she's really concerned about all of our health and holistically. And she has little ones, okay? She got a little baby. She's so precious. 3?
Yes.
Yes, she is 3, and then Miles is 10?
11.
11, okay, so he's 11 now. So she doctoring, homeschooling, and then do you have family staying with you too?
Not right now. No. I sent everybody away.
Okay. Because you know, it just adds layers to our lives when we have you know, we love them. We love, because she was eating good when Mama was there.
Go, you know, quarantine at your house.
Yeah. So I wanted her to come on, and I wanted her to share and talk about, you know, how are we taking care of ourselves and our families. And for those of us, you know, mine are a little older and can take care of themselves a little bit, but child, sometimes I have moments with them.
Right. Something just changed with my screen. Did you do something?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, okay, but I can just keep going. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No problem. So yes, I'm going to give you 5 tips today. Demetria asked me to give you 5 tips on how to keep yourself and your family, because anytime you talk about your kids, because I'm all about kids' health, we have to talk about family. We have to talk about parents. We have to talk about the adults, because everything you do and everything about you affects those kids, right? So it's a whole, Katrina, I'm just being silly. Holistic approach, all right? So first I want to comment on that. It was just too much to type really quickly. I love what you said a few minutes ago, Demetria. I am of the mindset of complementary medicine, where every branch of medicine has its role, and you have to understand what that role is, what it can do for you, what are you using it specifically for. And try not to blur those lines, but they all do play, and every branch has a role and can be helpful to you. Just like we don't like stereotypes about Black people, I don't like to broad brush doctors, MDs, allopathics, or naturopaths, or chiropractors, or anyone, because there's an art of medicine, and one individual doctor like myself, I like to say I am very holistic. I do respect essential oils. I do respect naturopaths. I do believe in other forms. I have patients that do chiropractic, different things like that, and I don't knock it. But I do believe in modern medicine, or traditional allopathic medicine, like Demetria said. I believe they can all coexist. And just like you said, for instance, COVID. If you get COVID, let's put this in perspective, thinking of different roles and how you're going to use them. If you get COVID infection, you're going to call your doctor. You may call your naturopath and say, what can I do? And if you're doing well at home, that's fine to use your essential oils, use your naturopath, be in touch with your doctor, and all of those things together. But if you can't breathe and you get critical, you're going to take your butt to the hospital. Okay, right? You're going to be like, doctor, MD, allopathic, intubate me, give me my oxygen, do whatever, you can do to save my life. And that is the perspective I see. Not that we are superior in any way. That is just the nature of our society, and that's a long discussion. A lot of nuances there for all branches, but just know why you're doing what you're doing. Be safe, because whether you take the pill I prescribe or you're ingesting essential oils, anything that you take has potential for side effects and for reactions. And if you're putting something in your body, you are taking a medicine, okay? So whether it's a doctor prescribed or you didn't prescribe it, you're taking something, okay? So just be safe and know what you're doing, know what's in there, know any potential risk and benefits, and accept those and see if they work for you. And please let your doctors, everyone you're working with, know what you're using, because some things do interact. And that's all I want to kind of say on that. Any questions about that or comments, I'll be glad to take it. But I'm going to jump into my tips. Is that good?
Yep.
All right, thank you. So number one, my approach here is family and kids. And as someone said, I think in comments, they're not doing too well right now. And so, yes, we have to acknowledge our uncertainty, our anxiety, our worries that we're feeling right now about COVID-19 and about staying at home and these uncharted waters that we're in. And so when you're feeling all of that, it can affect you, right? Your irritability, it can come out in so many ways in us as adults. And then that can trickle over into our kids and our spouses and cause all these crazy dynamics. So we have to kind of get that under control as the leader of our homes, as the adult and the parent in our homes. And so I've been saying to people, you know, plan and prepare and don't panic. Your kids need you to be the calm in this storm, and they need you to set the tone. If you're, they're going to be the same way, right? So in talking to them, the other fact of that is in talking to them, you want to, I have a 3-year-old. For her, it was just as simple. She misses her nanny. Nanny's not coming. And she's, where's Miss Dana? Where are my friends? I want to see such and such. And I'm like, you know, there's this virus right now. That's what I told her. I said, there's this virus and a lot of people are sick. And so we have to stay home so we don't get sick. And she understood that because she plays doctor. And she said, okay. And then every now and then she comes to me and she says, is everybody still sick? And I go, yeah, so we still got to stay home. I'll let you know when we can go see some people. Okay, mommy. So Miss Dana come back when everybody stopped being sick? Yes, mommy, that type of thing. So very simple conversation because that's all she's going to get. My son, on the other hand, he tends to be sort of a little anxious or worrisome. So I can't give him too much information. Right? He may hear a little bit of the news. He may come and get an update from me, but we don't overwhelm him with all the coverage and all the death toll and the survivals and all of that stuff because it's too much for him to handle. But he knows what COVID is. He knows what and to reel that in, I've told him, this is what you can do. So I've empowered him to have a role to keep us all safe. And that's just the thing needed to give him something to do and channel all of that nervous energy into something productive. So he makes sure he wipes things down. He's washing his hands. He said, Mommy, I'm washing my hands, you know, all these wonderful things. So I've taught him what he needs to do, and that makes him feel good, okay? The other big thing about being at home is all that you're feeling, you may be irritable. All that you're feeling, you may be more easily angry, right? Or you may be overwhelmed, especially with working and distance learning. We have to give our kids the benefit of the doubt and that same empathy to understand that they are also feeling stress. We say, kids, you ain't no reason to be stressing. They are feeling the stress. They're feeling the stress and the tension from us. They can't go to school. They can't really be with their friends. Their life is upside down as well. They're feeling that. So that, like the doctor talked earlier about how stress comes out in kids, it comes out in their behavior just like us. They can't express it, but they may be also irritable. They may be snappy. They may be talking back. They may be rebellious or non-compliant. Their behavior may be off. And so we have to also give them some grace and understand this may be because they're stressed as well. They may be affected by this as well, and give them a little more patience and a little more calm and understanding. So that's what some of the things, just think about that, because I know it's hard when they don't want to do their work and they're resisting doing the work that you're trying to get them to do. And I got to cook and I got to get my conference call on and this house is a mess and you don't want to do this work. Breathe, take a deep breath, step back and say, you know what, they're stressed too. This is all different for them too. Give them a little bit of grace. The next thing is keep a schedule. So with all this chaos going on, the thing that can make your house the most settled, the one thing that's like a kryptonite to chaos, that the way I say it, is keeping a schedule and keeping up your routines. So get them up at a certain time, make sure they're brushing their routines, bedtime routine, keep them on routine. You're giving them that sense of normalcy for yourself and them. Schedule in meals, schedule playtime, exercise, schedule the schoolwork in a little block, schedule your work. If your spouse or partner's home or you have an older kid, divide and conquer. Where I talked to my friend about this the other day. She was kind of like, girl, and I said, look, you work in the morning and your husband have the kids. And then he has the kids then you have the kids in the afternoon or evening, and then he works. Try to figure out a way to divide and conquer. And while he's with the kids, you get your work done and you get some self-care time. You go walk, you go work out, you just close up in a room and read a book or take a nap. We've got to schedule in or flexible schedule of these things that we need for ourselves. Some self-care time, to take care of the family time, get what we need to get done, and also the things our kids need. One thing that, pediatricians always say is screen time. Too much. Right now, who cares, right? We're relaxing all of that. So give them some extra screen time so you can go get your me time, right? And it's okay. And just try to get most of that stuff in, but as someone said, give yourself some grace and, set 1 or 2 or maybe 3 things you want to achieve each day, whether it be something for the kids, for yourself, or whatever. If you get those done, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. It'll be there tomorrow. Okay. And my last couple of points are all basically about COVID. And if you guys, I can just take some questions if you want to ask me things about COVID, but those safety measures that we all need to be adhering to, I think everybody is up on that. One thing I want to say there is be careful with all the myths and misinformation. I'm seeing so much that's just absolutely blows my mind. True. Us health officials, doctors, scientists, this is new to all of us, so we don't know. We're just learning, right? And so with that uncertainty, even for us, it's easy for these conspiracies and these myths to come through. And just be careful, because some things you can do can be harmful. If you drink too much water, you can have water intoxication. Okay, electrolyte imbalances that can give you seizures and kill you. And people have been telling people just drink water every 30 minutes or every hour or something. I've been seeing the craziest things, simple things that sound like they can't be harmful, but they can be harmful. And so just be careful with that. And then the last thing I'm going to be doing this week is doing some media on your COVID sick kit. So we don't know if we're going to get sick. We don't know if a family member is going to get sick with COVID. Are you prepared for that? Okay. Have you thought through how you would set up your home? Have you thought through how to do all of that? So if anybody wants to talk about that, I'm good. I can do that, but I don't want to take up all the time because I know we want to stop at 1.
All right. Any questions? Thank you so much for sharing that. Any questions for Dr. Candace? So where are you going to be talking about this sick kit and how to prepare? Because I think that is so, watching Chris Cuomo talk about, him being ill and he quarantined in the basement. Now his wife is sick. And so now she's in another room, and now there's 17-year-olds having to step up and try to care for the other younger siblings because it's a situation up in the household, right? And we don't know what's going to happen. We did a broadcast with Dr. Maurice Scholes on Hey Sister, and he did a lot of myths and fact busting. But let's talk about some of the myths and facts if you guys have questions, especially as it relates to COVID, because here's the thing. You can get it and you can survive, but preparation is definitely key.
Right. Absolutely. If anybody wants to just send some of the, how do you want to do it? There's so much stuff that I've heard, I can't even think about it right now. But
no, that's what I said. If anybody has a question, you can come off mute, ask your question. We'll do a couple questions, and then we'll transition to our next speaker.
And then as far as the sick kit, I'll Sunday, I think it's going to be News 13, and then Tuesday, Fox 35, and that's live. So it'll be early in the morning. Those are really quick. So I may just get on like my, since I'm not in the clinic, I hadn't been doing the word in the clinics, but I can just come on after I do those interviews and do a live maybe and go through, since I'll have all the supplies set up, and go through that sometime this week.
Okay, well, that'll be great. And can you drop in the chat how people can follow you on social media, where they can follow you at?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Any questions for Dr. Candace?
Yes, this is Crystal. Are we really supposed to be sanitizing every single grocery that comes in the house? Because if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, because I haven't done that. I don't got time to be wiping, like things that I'm going to eat, obviously. I wash my hands. I wipe down the fresh fruits and vegetables before I eat them. But I'm not wiping down a box of Cheerios. I'm not wiping down the box of snacks Like, that just seemed a little ridiculous to me.
Right. I've been doing that. It's not that bad, but it's up to you. Based on that study of how long the virus can live on surfaces, it is conceivable that it could be there. Cardboard, it's a shorter period of time. Mostly on plastic and stainless steel, it can be there for days. So cardboard type packaging may be shorter, and you got to think about that's been shipped, it's been in different temperatures, all these things is probably not likely there. But it depends on if you're like that person that just be extra careful, wipe it down, or nah, it's probably not there, I'm not going to worry about it. And that's totally okay. So I leave that up to you, but it's probably less likely there.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully that helps.
Anybody else?
They're like, I don't want to talk about COVID. I'm done. This was wellness and I don't want to bring up COVID. I get it. All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And we're going to switch over to our last speaker, another one of my fellow Xavierites, really good friend. We've been knowing each other for a long time now. But to talk about mental health, because right now, you know, and we've touched on it a little bit here and there, but we wanted to hear from a mental health expert and just answer questions about, you know, what are the things we can be doing to really care for our mental health at this time? Because I don't know about you all, living in Florida, I'm like, I'm concerned about where we are and where we're going and folks trying to get out. And I'm like, so I have all these things going through my head, which is adds more into my mental bank that I don't necessarily want to have there. But it's adding concern to me that I'm like, I don't need to have these concerns, but nonetheless, it weighs on our brain sometimes. So that's why I wanted to have her on and talk about how can we really care for our mental health right now. So Chandra.
Thank you. I think first and foremost, it's important to think about, like, so just like we talked and we had great conversations about what you digest. So what we eat and how we exercise and how we take care of our body, I think often we don't make the connection with our mind. And so, like, how are you taking care of your mind? If I hear, if I keep my news on Fox all the time, I'm going to think that the world is coming to an end. Or if I keep it on CNN or whatever channel, if I'm constantly ingesting news around me that the world is falling apart, then I will believe that. So like, and then all the folks around me feel like the world is falling apart, and then everything around me. So like the chatter doesn't stop. So how do you protect yourself from that chatter? So like for me, a long time ago, I just stopped watching the news because I wanted to believe that Black people were good. I wanted to believe that, you know, the world wasn't bad. And so I really started becoming really thoughtful about who I listened to and where I would get that from. And so like, maybe I'll only, and then like, what kind of learner are you and how do you take things in? So if you're an auditory learner and things come in a certain way, or do you read in a certain way, that can also impress how you take it in and how it impacts your mental health. So like, I might think that things are more powerful if I hear it. So maybe I don't listen. Maybe I'll just read the highlights of the New York Times or something that I trust. So kind of like, what do you surround yourself with and what do you hear? I think recognizing that what we are experiencing right now, that our world is going through a change and we have a lot of loss and we don't give ourselves time to grieve. Like we don't appreciate the gamut of emotions that we feel every single day. And we don't try to take in that what we're actually going through is loss. And like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to let it go. It's okay to be frustrated, to be angry, to be upset. You're not going to be perfect. You're not a teacher. Your kids are not going to be great. Like things are going to happen. And at these times, like it's okay. You know, and I think particularly being Black women, we subscribe to the myth of being these strong Black women. And, you know, that's a lie. Or it's true, but it's only like half truth. It doesn't give the totality of the human beings that we are every single day. And so, you know, I had an intense conversation with a friend about a year ago who was talking about, oh, no, you're so strong, you're so this. And I was like, that's not true. I cry every day. I cry. Talk to my husband. He knows it. And that's okay. And we don't give ourselves, and we said it several times, give yourself some grace. So we don't give ourselves that grace to be vulnerable, because that allows us to be human. I think we also talked about it a little bit. It's important to like check in with others. Like if you're an introvert like me, when this started, you were like, yes, now people won't bother me and I don't have to talk. Yes, this is amazing. But we can go on a little bit longer and start feeling the disconnection of routine, start feeling the disconnection of humanity. And so like, don't just, hey, Demetria, how you doing? But like, nah, sis, like, how are you really doing? Like, tell me what's going on. If you're not good with that, some prompts that you can use is like, whenever I do a work check-in or wherever I do a friend check-in, some things that we talk about are like, what are 3 words to define your day? Or what are 3 words to define what you've gone through? Something else you can try is tell me one thing that makes you happy. Tell me something that you're looking forward to. And so that kind of keeps the positivity to it. What have you done today for yourself, physically or mentally? How have you taken care of yourself today? These are conversations that we can now have to our friends and family. And what you're kind of slowly doing is you're building in a level of intimacy that we typically don't allow ourselves time for every single day. Because what keeps us connected is that intimacy. What keeps us in our relationships and making us feel like, which makes us feel less lonely, is that intimacy. Also know that right now, if we're all like grieving that communal connection that we've had or that lifestyle that we've had, those feelings can trigger previous traumas. And so if you've had like a history of abuse, or if you've had gone through a divorce or relationship changes or anything like that, like some of that stuff can come up, and that's okay. You know, anxiety and depression, I think we look at it and we're like, oh, that's bad. I don't think it's bad. I think it's all right. That means that the coping skill that I've always used doesn't work anymore. So I've had certain levels of growth. So what coping skill do I now need to learn so that I can learn to deal with anxiety and depression in this new stage of my life, right? So maybe when I did this, I was able to, I was able to talk to somebody about it and it was okay. Or I was able to relate to this person and it was fine. And now that doesn't work anymore. So, okay, what's a new coping skill that I can learn to kind of make that life better? And so I think for our friends that can't like sleep, for me, something that's really helped, because I can get anxiety really bad. I start to worry, I start to overthink, I start to stress out. Like at that moment, I start writing. So if you like to journal, do that. Journal about everything that you're feeling or everything that you're thinking. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just write it and get it off your mind. If you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's good. There's a cool study that talks about like second sleep and says that it's genetic, so half of us get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and stay up for an hour. But what do you do in that hour? So like you can journal, you can do a light chore, you can do something that exhausts you in your mind to help you go back to sleep. But start doing that, to start seeing like, what are you feeling? Like, what is it that's causing you this level of anxiety? It could also be just extra energy that you didn't burn during the day. So like wear yourself out and see, like, does that help also? I think finally, we also talked about gratitude and joy. Whenever I get like in a bad place, I try to pull myself out of it by thinking like, who and what do I need to be grateful for? Who or what do I need to send a thank you card to? Who or what do I need to call and show levels of appreciation for? And I think a silver lining out of this to me is that we have time to slow down and enjoy. Like I read an article the other day and I really liked it. We had our fear of missing out, we had our FOMO, but now we can actually enjoy the joy of missing out. Like now I can actually, all those things that I said to myself that, ooh, if I just had a moment and I didn't have to work, I would clean out my closet. Well, now I got that moment. And so now I can actually like clean out that closet. Now I can actually just read all those books that I have, or spend time with myself, or really kind of think about, like, who do I want to be at the end of this? So we all have collectively said, maybe this will change the world a little bit. Okay, so what piece can I take out of this that'll help change me a little bit? What can I adopt to push me to be a little different? So that's all.
Thank you for sharing that, Chandra. Anybody have any questions for Chandra? So Chandra is is clinically trained psychologist. She is an executive director of the Lifelines Counseling Center in Mobile, Alabama. And so Christina, you had a question.
Yeah, so one of my very close friends just lost her father to COVID last weekend. And obviously she's grieving, and because of the times and additional things, but especially because of how you can't gather and things like that, you know, it's making it more challenging. What can I do to help her, or what kind of things can I provide her as far as ways to properly grieve, other than just saying, well, you may need to talk to a counselor. But what can I do without allowing it to bog me down as well?
Yeah. I mean, I think recognizing, like, what kind of friend is your friend? Like, what does she need? Is she a person that that you could send food to and she finds that valuable? Kind of like so what are your love languages? So what's her language that she can hear you being there? Sometimes does she need time? So do you just sit on the phone with her and let her cry and let her be? And she doesn't have to be anything else. Maybe to everybody else in the family, she has to be the strong person. But with you, I could curse and cry and yell. Are you the person that I don't want to cry with, and you just make me laugh? You know, you help me remember the joy of what life is in such this dark time. So, I mean, I think, like, you kind of know your friend best and think way. I think we don't put enough value on just being there for people. And I don't have to do anything. I could just be quiet. And if you want to fill the space, you can fill it as much as you can or as little as you can, but giving her an opportunity to guide you and allow you to see, like, how you can be best for her, how you can protect yourself. I think all those things we talked about around mental wellness. So I think if you're with someone who is heavy in grief, like, it's not uncommon for us to take that grief on. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we'll take it in and it'll impact our bodies in a different way. So I think once you deal with somebody who's either, if they're heavy in grief, or they're extremely toxic, or they have, like, for the lack of a better word, an energy that's just not great at this time. So, like, you can do all the things that we talked about today. You can go for a walk, you can ground yourself in nature, you can cry, like, you release that emotion and you release what is that person, like, bringing up in me, right? And so I think subscribing to all those things could also help you protect you.
Thank you.
Candace asks, are you doing any telemedicine remotely?
Yeah, I don't actually practice, but we have a staff of folks that do, and we do telehealth. Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Anybody else have any questions or comments around this? Because one of the things, oh, go ahead, Jody.
Okay, so hearing all this makes me realize I'm not crazy.
No.
Okay. I'm telling you, I thought I was about to lose it there for a few days.
No, not at all. Not at all. Being stuck in isolation, being disconnected, not having, and, you know, I think us, you know, introverts are folks that we get our energy by being alone. Extroverts are folks like Demetria is a prime extrovert, so she gets her energy from other people. So, like, if we hang out, I have to go and get in the corner for a little while because I'm like, I'm a little tired. Go. And it's not I don't love you and I don't want to be around you. I just gotta chill for a second. So no, you're not crazy. But I think also as introverts, we think a lot, and we could also be our own not great person. And so we get trapped in those thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's my problem, because I know one day I walk, because I can't get to the gym. So I've been walking, and just right in the middle of the walk, I just started like bawling. And I'm like, I hope people don't think I'm hurt and people stop and want to help. So I'm like trying to keep walking, and I'm wiping tears and I'm just boohooing. And so I was like, what is wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why am I? And so, I mean, it's stressful. I'm an introvert, but I just want this to be over.
Yeah, and we all do. We all do. There's nothing wrong with that. And you crying, I'm like, that is awesome. You should let it go, let it out. Because if we don't let it out, then what? We have fibroids, we have high blood pressure, we have diabetes, we have heavy periods, we have. And it's all, to me, it's all connected. So like, if we don't allow ourselves to fully feel, and unfortunately as Black people and even more as Black women, we're not allowed to feel wholly. If we don't give ourselves those opportunities, we have to give it, because I don't think anyone else in this world will allow us to have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have another question here. How can we find an African-American mental health experts in our area? And Candace put in here, psychologytoday.com to find a therapist. You can also go to Therapy for Black Girls.
Yep.
They have a website, as well as you can follow them on Instagram. But Therapy for Black Girls, and they have I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I'll just, for lack of a better term, I'll just say like a clearinghouse, a list,
a directory.
A directory. Thank you. A directory of Black therapists, and for Therapy for Black Girls, I think they're all female therapists.
I think so.
But so you can go to therapyforblackgirls.com as well. Let me type that in.
And when you're looking for a therapist, do your research. Find somebody that fits with you, just like you would do with your physicians. I was in a talk one day, and they were like, well, what if I don't like my therapist? I'm like, don't go back. I mean, like, it's the same. It's a relationship that you want to build with someone. You also want to know, like, what are they trained on? And what is it that you need help with? If you have past traumas, if you have abuse, if you have violence in your history, you want somebody who's trained in trauma. If you know that you haven't been sleeping well, or you may want someone who kind of connects the mind and the body. So like, figure out what it is at that moment that you want healed, and look for that. Like, it's okay if you don't like them, move on. I do think it's important that you consider a culturally competent therapist, because you can go to someone who's Black and they may not be on the same path or journey that you may be on, and they may not understand where you stand in Blackness. And I think that that's very important. And so, I think Therapy for Black Girls has done a good job with helping kind of sift through all that.
Y'all saw I'm making that expression. Y'all know what that means. That part, culturally competent. Because just because you my color don't mean you my kind, or on the same journey and experience with me, or understand me in a certain way. And we see that every day.
Yep.
Then we see that every day.
Yep.
So any other questions for for anybody while we're on here? I know Jolinda, you came in late. Hey, Jolinda. Thank you for joining us. Any other questions, comments?
Hello, I'm sorry that I'm late, but I have really enjoyed. I wish I had. Are you going to tape it? Because I'd like to hear it from the beginning.
Yes, I did record it, and you will get the recording in a post email. Yes, ma'am. So
thank you.
I have so this is a labor of love for me, y'all. I'm really excited about this. Next week I have another virtual brunch, and it is focused on business and how are we adjusting and pivoting and moving, whether you're in a corporation or not. The first one we had someone talk about finances, but things are being hitting people differently. It don't matter if you gainfully employed, people are getting reductions in pay and what have you. And so how are you shifting and adapting your business to be able to survive in this moment in time? So that's going to be the topic as well. Oh, Dawn. Hey, Dawn. I'm sorry. Hi, Dawnie. Say hi, Dawnie. Dawn Adderley, are you there? You got to unmute yourself. Okay, she's not saying nothing. I want you to, and so Dawn, I want you to be here next time because I want you to be able to drop in the link so we can get a beautiful bling cup. Okay, can you do that? Thank you. But yeah, so I just want to kind of continue to just provide this platform. One of the things I love about this is we've been doing more of these things. We've been doing more of these type of connecting. And I think there's a lot of richness here. And so if you have a social media handle, if you have a way you want people to follow you and connect with you, drop it in the chat right now. Because I do believe in gaining these meaningful connections because it helps us build a stronger community together. And I love having this community and being able to call upon friends who I love dearly and who love me dearly. I know they love me. Even though I get on their nerves sometimes because I'm an extrovert. But call on my friends to kind of to join in here and kind of connect all of my worlds together. So Tertia and Chandra and I went to college together, and you know, just kind of connecting people over all the different parts of my life. Donna's my cousin. You know, my sister's here. And so connecting all the life I've picked up along the way, and I got a lot of sorority sisters here. It's just it's so wonderful for me. And so I love to connect everybody together. So drop your social media handles, drop how people can follow you in the chat. Katrina Lee Jones, Styled by Katrina. Come on, drop it in there. You ain't drop it in there, girl. Type it in there. So we all can support each other. Entreprenista, Lena. So Lena, are you gonna say something today? Come on off mute, Lena. Thank you. This is my partner in crime, y'all. She has a birthday coming up too.
Yeah, well, your partner in crime is struggling, but I did come on. I'm one of those introverts, but this has just been just a little bit much. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're here to support you and to get you through. And that's what we're kind of all here for, to try to do that. And so DJ Tammy Nix, if you're still on, yes, Hey Sister. So we have another Hey Sister episode coming up tomorrow. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. We had a great show. So if you want to hear that show about COVID, it was last week. This Sunday, we have another show tomorrow, and we're going to have someone, we're going to be talking about the impact on higher education, how this whole coronavirus, COVID-19, Katrina has a high school senior who's supposed to graduate. What's going to happen? Is he going to school? Is he not going to school? Is he going to be starting online? Or, you know, how football season going to be impacted? He got a scholarship to play football, but what's going to happen? All of these questions are still outstanding right now. And so we have someone who works at Northwestern University in Chicago, and he's going to come on and we're going to talk about higher education and what the impact's going to be. And so DJ Tammy Nix, we're going to ask you to play us out. So she's going to play us out for a few minutes. And she still didn't drop her Cash App in there, but I'll find it later, and I'm gonna add it. She got one of Dawn's cups. See, she has one of the bling cups in her hand. That's what Dawn does. So yes. So please, let's support her. Go to her Facebook page, Tammy Nix Tate, like that. Find her on Facebook and follow her. And again, let's all wish her a happy birthday. So happy birthday.
So I'm not tech savvy, so I don't know. So it's $TAMMY 1874. So Tammy 1874.
Tammy 1874. All right, I'm dropping it in. If y'all can bless her with a tip, bless her with a tip. We appreciate you. All right, play us out, Tammy.
All right, I'm gonna play some new school, clean. We're gonna just swish us out of here. Blessings to you all, and I appreciate you guys. Love you, ladies.
All right, thank you.
It's a light day. Ain't got on them about 700,000 worth. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I was having trust issues, but I've been having way better luck since you. I know it's true love with two to myself, I don't wanna fall in love with you. Falling on the E-way speeding. Friday, just started the weekend. Exhortation to responding. We gon' go crazy with the smiling. We do high yoga 92 degrees. And you stretch it out for me. I got somewhere to be, but it's hard to leave. When you do it like you mean it, I'm proceeding. Is you the one? Is you the one? Then she looked me in my eyes, told me I'm so this we can thing right. Cause I'm riding the time for you, baby. Got me feeling incredible. Incredible. Yeah, we can do exactly what you like, baby. And it's all on me. We can take it tonight, baby. It's all on me. We've been texting back and forth.
Grinding all my life, sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life, all my life, grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Look, I'm married to this game. That's who I made my wife. Said I die alone. I told that she probably right. One thing that's for sure, not a stranger to this life. Gotta save this for the Franklins and a shoulder full of stripes. Don't know it like myself. I say self-made, meaning I design myself. County jail fade, you can pull my foul yourself. Spot raid, swallow rocks, I'm getting high myself. Nah, damn right, I like the life I built. West side 60, I might got killed. Instead of so tall, I think I might got still. Legendary baller like Mike, like Will. 96 Impala, thug life on wheels. Up against the wall, squabble at Fox Hills. Like a mother boss asked me how I feel. Successful street, touching them first meals. Whoa. All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life.
Dance with my dogs in the nighttime. Trap with the chickens like bye-bye. Money changing colors like da-da. I'm just trying to get it, I ain't trying to die. You got a big on your booty, make the world cry. In the kitchen, wrist twisted like a stir fry. Hold them bands down, hold your man down. Who thought you come around? Bring the trap down. Better in the club, all the ballers showing up. Can you party with us? I'm just trying to show you love. VIP, we got it packed. This is where the party at. You know what I wanna know. How it's supposed to go.
He said, meet me in Miami. Ever been on the jet, girl, don't you ready? Keys, and a mansion. She know I was this t-shirt panties. We hit the club together, we did the dance. Might grab a couple if they're really attractive. I can keep it classy, I can get romantic. It's all up to you, what you wanna do.
I used to love, leave them. Really something about you that I'ma keep it in the wagon. Cheaper, living lavish. Beat up.
Trips that you plan for the next whole week. It's too long for a nigga so cheap. And your flex OD, sex OD. You got it, girl, you got it. You got it. Pretty little thing, you got it. Do you ever dream of getting little raindrops? You'll say, I'm really mad.
Have you ever loved someone so much you thought you died? Giving so much of you there, it seemed the only way. Tell me what you want and I will give
Push it up, let me see you just wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Baby, come on, y'all. Hey. Make a bag, get up. Make a bag, get up. Hey, good girl, make a bag, get up. Make a bag, get up. Hey, good girl, make a bag, get up. Make a bag, get up. Hey, good girl, make a bag, get up. Make a bag, get up, get up. I was shaking it, it's like Congo. I was shaking the city like Congo. I'm telling the face like Congo. I'm taking the case, so let's make it. I'm taking the game's mine. Yeah, I want some change, it's my time. Yeah, I'm new to the game, but y'all might wanna say you whack raps, they like saving time. I can dance home, I don't do stuff. Y'all looking at something like a true player. A girl told me that a man that can dance might possibly get down with the tune in his band. Now I'm a ladies, let me see it vibrate. And when it's over, you gon' need your verb. I'm a pro, make you bend your back low, then the powder real bad, just like the purple. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, yeah.
I don't know if you could take it. No, you wanna see me naked, naked, naked. I wanna be a baby, baby, baby. Spinning in his matches like he came from Maytag. Rocket with it on the front. When I get like this, I can't be rough. I'm too little to turn down and up. Cause I can do things that I'm gon' do. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
Let's go. Ice water turn Atlantic. Night calling in a phantom. Tell them all they don't you panic. Took an island type of magic. Drop the roof, more expansion. Drive a coupe, you can stand it. Undercover in the sheets. I'ma ask him to be over. Guess we always for each other. Now that all the dogs free. We out in these streets. Can you do it? Can you pop it for me?
Pull up in a demon on guard. Looking like I still do fraud. Flying private jet with the rod. It's that Z. It's that Z. Pull up in a demon on guard. Looking like I still do fraud. Flying private jet with the rod. It's that Z. It's that Z.
Blow the brains out the coop. Only one on top, but I'm on mute. I'ma bust her wrist down cause she cute. Car on the yacht, I've been on pool. She an addict for the lifestyle in the paddock. And you work with Russian damn fast. I be dripping the death. I need a casket. Trevor got me dressed to
So we are coming with a force. Yeah. Blessings we are reaping with fortune on foot. Oh, in a rise and boast. Yeah, we give thanks that we need it the